You know, man, I'm looking at my notes for this show tonight. I'm looking at my iPad, where I usually do all of my note-taking. And I'm looking at my notes, and I'm looking at the notes that I took on SmackDown tonight. And I swear to you guys watching me tonight, whoever is watching, because I doubt anybody watched this horrific show tonight. If I showed you my iPad and I showed you my notes for tonight's SmackDown episode on Fox, that would pretty much give you a good indication about what I thought of the show and what you guys should do. And it's amazing how I once loved watching this show. I loved what this show was way back when. And I look at what the show is now and how terrible it is. And I'm just going to show you. These are my notes, folks. These are my notes for SmackDown. There you go. All I have is the title of the show. All I have is the title of the show, SmackDown. SmackDown. I stopped taking notes. I physically can't look at that first hour and get excited about doing anything SmackDown related on Friday night. You know, back in the day when we had Raw, no matter how terrible it was, because 2018 and 2019 were some of the worst Monday Night Raw years in the history of Monday Night Raw. No matter how terrible Monday Night Raw was, we would go into Tuesday, and we always had Tuesday to look forward to. Tuesday was usually better than Monday, even though Tuesday still sucked. And then Tuesday sucked, Monday sucked, and then we had NXT to kind of even everybody out. And that was the end of the wrestling work week. That was it. Nothing on Thursday unless you watch NXT UK. Nothing on Friday, nothing on Saturday, nothing on Sunday. Right back to the grind on Monday. Now, we got to watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw on Monday, which is still equally as terrible as it was in 2018 and 2019. We got NXT, which is hit and miss nowadays on the USA Network with the empty arena shows. So some weeks they're okay, some weeks they're boring. And then by the time we get into Friday, nobody gives a shit about anything on SmackDown. Nobody. I clearly didn't, because I have nothing but SmackDown written in my notes. If I told you guys during this show, in the first hour, the majority of the first hour was taken over by Baron Corbin and Elias in a 20-minute match in the Intercontinental Championship Tournament. Elias, a loser, Elias versus Baron Corbin went 20 minutes. Then we got Dana Brooke versus Naomi, with Dana Brooke getting yet another unceremonious win over Naomi. For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe she was a good girl and ate all her fucking green beans in catering. I don't know. And man, oh man, is Titus working overtime with Jimmy Seafood. Jesus Christ, the guy is a master of his craft. He's a better cook than he is wrestler. No wonder he's in essential business. That was the entire first hour. I guarantee you that SmackDown lost viewers in droves after that first hour. Then they want to know, what's going on? Why are the ratings down? Why is nobody watching? When Fox looks at the numbers, what are they thinking? What's going on here, Vince? And then they look at the show and they see Baron Corbin and fucking Elias 20 minutes in an Intercontinental Championship Tournament match in the first hour, taking over the entire first hour. How could anybody sit there and genuinely say they enjoy SmackDown? Then you got Charlotte Flair. You got the Android Queen, the Raw Superstar, who's the NXT champion, appearing on SmackDown. I'd love to know who made this decision about showcasing Charlotte Flair on 3 different brands now that she's the NXT champion. And she said something about crunching numbers and boiling the numbers down to what they are. Oh, I'm sure you could do that, Charlotte Flair. I'm sure you have a state-of-the-art calculator integrated into your firmware. I'm sure of it. And the reason why she's on all 3 shows, because they upgraded her battery to lithium-ion, apparently. So that's that. But I still don't want to see Charlotte Flair on 3 shows. She's the NXT champion. She should be on NXT only. You talk about overexposure. Holy shit. Jesus Christ almighty. You want Charlotte Flair to be looked at as worse than Roman Reigns? Because, honey, you're already there. You're already there. I'm starting to take back what I said about Roman Reigns and the WWE treating the Roman Reigns agenda. Charlotte seems to be much worse than anything I have ever seen in my entire existence watching this product. It is awful. It is awful. She's a ratings killer. And she's on all 3 shows. For what? I don't know. Certainly not Fox making that decision because they have the numbers. And when Charlotte is on, the numbers are horrific. Otis and the Money in the Bank. WWE is already teasing. I don't even know why I'm carrying this pen around. It was on my desk. I look cooler with the fucking pen in my hand like I'm teaching a goddamn fucking class. Otis and the briefcase. Clearly WWE has plans for him to cash in. And I see right through their veil. Cash in and fail. And Mandy Rose is going to cost Otis the briefcase. That's exactly what I'm seeing. WWE thinks they are slick. That's my prediction. Otis becomes another member of the Losers Club because he never should have won it in the first place. And he has a cash in, he fails to cash in, and Mandy Rose fucks him over. We'll talk about that, and that's pretty much all that happened on SmackDown tonight on Fox. I am not joking. I hope. I'm at like 5 minutes. I hope to keep this review under 30 minutes. I really hope so. But knowing me, I'll be ranting and raving and complaining about something that I go from 30 to 60 minutes. So hopefully we can keep that at around 30 minutes, man. This show was absolutely as unimportant as they come. Seriously. So we'll do our best to go over it. I don't want to be particularly analytical and breaking everything down like I usually do because there's no point. There's no point. The very little audience that are watching the show on Fox are not even watching podcasts like mine and everybody else in the community because they are so disenfranchised with the show. They are just completely lost when it comes to pro wrestling. They're not even watching the actual shows on Monday and Friday, and then why would they want to watch somebody like me? The majority of the audience, the majority of you guys are watching me more so than you're watching the show, but those people who would watch the show and then seek podcasts out after the show is over to get some justification or validation on what they thought, they're not even watching the show. So why would they watch me? Or why would they watch anybody else in the community? There's a reason why SmackDown views and SmackDown viewership is some of the lowest across the board for everybody. For everybody. I'm still doing okay. But man, oh man, they are down at least 40% from where they actually should be. Honestly. So it is a tough situation right now. With SmackDown being so bad, I don't think anybody wants to cover it. I think we all cover it just based out of necessity at this point. It really is terrible. It really is terrible. But we're going to go over the show the best we can tonight, and I want to thank whoever's here watching me to the show tonight. You know, I want to thank you guys for showing up. I want to say that I'm very grateful that you're here, and hopefully you have a good time. And whatever you take away from this show, hopefully you learn something. So that's all I can ask for. I'm JD. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on the podcast. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well and turn on that bell for all notifications. I would really appreciate that. Let's try and hit that thumbs up, man. I know a lot of you guys don't give a shit about SmackDown, but let's try for over 1,200 likes on today's video. I would really appreciate that. It would help out the channel and the video immensely. If you missed anything that I uploaded on the channel this week, man, there's a ton of content for you guys to go out there and be entertained by. Monday Night Raw. You got AEW Dynamite. You got NXT Live. I did the NXT review live. I think I'm going to keep up with the NXT reviews live on Thursday. So you guys get an NXT review in the rotation every week. So if you guys missed that, and off the script earlier today, I uploaded it a little earlier at 12:30. Man, we triggered a ton of people with the title of the video today. Becky Lynch is pregnant and gone, and it's absolutely fantastic. People thought I took it and I ran with it and I shit all over her pregnancy and shit all over the emotional connection she made with the fans. In fact, I actually gave you guys a very in-depth point of view about why Becky Lynch going away is good for the community. And it's good for the show. And it's good for the women's division. She wasn't doing anything. So whatever you guys seen in the title, you guys assumed that I shit all over Becky Lynch. And people were triggered by it. But I guarantee you, you didn't even listen to 5 minutes of the podcast today. So you got to go and listen to that and really keep an open ear to what I'm talking about. You might learn a thing or two. So go and check that out. Really good stuff. We talk about Sami Zayn as well and how he got fucked over, how he was punished. And we'll talk about it again tonight, how he was punished and he was stripped of the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown. So if you guys want to hear those rants, down in the description below. Tomorrow is a legendary rant on the wild card rule, or the brand to brand invitational, they're calling it. Absolutely epic rant. I cut this shit down like fucking Kevin Dunn building a dam in the rivers of Montana. Honestly, it is absolutely legendary. There is absolutely no way anybody can refute anything I say in tomorrow's podcast. So if you guys want a excellent point of view from yours truly about the wild card rule or the new wild card rule in WWE, wait till you hear tomorrow's show. Some good stuff coming to round out the weekend, so look forward to that. And I thank you guys for all of the support. If you want to support the podcast via Patreon and show some extra appreciation, you guys can do that as well. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And today's podcast is brought to you by my good friends over at Harry's. How many of you guys are looking like me nowadays? I look pretty decent. I'm actually going to shave right after this podcast tonight because I need to. It's getting to a point where it's absolutely ridiculous. But I know times are rough right now. No barbershops open. You can't go get a nice clean shave. Harry's is here to help you look your best while saving you a little bit of cash along the way during these stay-at-homes. It's business up top and PJs on the bottom. That's what I'm doing. That's what I do every day, man. I work in my PJs. I love it. Harry's is your number one destination for all your grooming needs. They got everything you need to cover you in your shaving needs with high-quality blades as low as $2 each, delivered straight to your doorstep. No questions asked. I love when I shave with Harry's. No cuts, no nicks, never bleeding. I love their shave gel with aloe. It smells fantastic. I love the smooth glide of the blade over my sensitive skin. I always look great, man. I feel refreshed when I use Harry's. You guys can get a Harry's trial set today, delivered to your doorstep by going to harrys.com/script. Harry's is a return to the essential quality durable blades at a fair price. Just $2 per blade. They've cut out the middleman. There's no more middleman. They manufacture their own blades in their German blade factory that's been honing precision blades for over a century, which means you guys get incredibly high-quality blades at factory direct prices. They're also super convenient. Blade refills delivered directly to your door on your schedule with or without a subscription. And one of the best things about Harry's is that they help support those who need it most right now. Harry's is donating $1 million worth of shaving supplies to hospitals across the United States. Because of your purchase, they will be helping out those in need. What you guys are going to get when you use harrys.com/script, our unique link: a weighted handle with a firm grip, 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip, and a trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Or if you're like me, it makes a great presentation in the bathroom. When you got guests over, oh, you use Harry's too. I've been there. I've said it. Go to harrys.com/script, guys. Start shaving better today. Save yourself some money. Harry's is the only shave you need. harrys.com/script, and I want to thank them for supporting Off the Scripts. There you go, man. I could sit here and talk about Harry's for an hour. Instead, I got to talk about Baron Corbin versus Elias. Intercontinental Championship first round match. Yes, we'll get to Otis. I want to talk about this first round match, man. And I want to talk about these brackets, because this was bothering me from the beginning. It really was. We got Elias and Corbin in the first round. We got Nakamura and AJ Styles in the other bracket. So the winner of this match would go on to face AJ and Nakamura. Then we got the other side of the bracket. We got Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus, and we got Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak on the other side of things. Whoever came up with these brackets is a complete fucking idiot. You got Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan, which would have been a great semifinal match. Don't even know why they're in the tournament together in the same match. Not complaining because the match was decent, but my goodness, man, you couldn't give me Daniel Bryan versus a Cesaro or a Cesaro in the tournaments, you know? I would have much rather have taken Cesaro versus Nakamura than watching Daniel Bryan go up against the guy that he's been going with lately in Drew Gulak. Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy also doesn't make sense because you could have put them on the opposite end of things and you could have built this entire tournament around them for them to go to the finals and then have their first match in this budding feud of theirs be for the Intercontinental Championship where Sheamus would get the one title that has eluded him his entire career. Doesn't really make much sense to me. Then you got AJ Styles in the fucking tournament. Nobody said a goddamn word about why AJ was there. Nobody mentioned anything else but AJ and Nakamura, a rematch from WrestleMania a couple years ago. Great. Why is he there? Why is he there? Why did AJ go into a Boneyard match, lose, go into a ladder match, lose, and then automatically gets a shot at the Intercontinental Championship on a brand that he's not even associated with? Now, before anybody attacks me, I enjoy AJ Styles. I love AJ Styles. I think AJ is one of the best on the planet, but that doesn't mean that he deserves to be there. AJ should not be there. And no, having a guy like AJ Styles who's not associated with this brand, AJ Styles who's taking an opportunity and a spot away from somebody else on this brand he's not associated with, it doesn't mean AJ in the tournament brings meaning and prestige to the Intercontinental Championship. Because we all know why AJ is there. We're not stupid. AJ is there because WWE doesn't want to push anybody on SmackDown legitimately to be the next breakout star. WWE is desperate for ratings, so Fox asked them, we need some star power on this show, and WWE goes out and brings AJ Styles over to SmackDown. There's their answer for Fox's question. Doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. WWE is in a position where they are in control of building new stars. That doesn't mean we follow the same fucking route that we took last year and follow the same mistakes that we made last year, because that's exactly what this is. You're bringing somebody over, a big name from another brand, to a brand that is not his or theirs, and you're giving them an opportunity that could go to somebody else on that show. I fucking hate it. And I love AJ Styles. AJ is there for ratings. I can't unsee that. I really can't. These brackets don't make any sense. So now you got Elias and Baron Corbin, Nakamura and AJ. Great. Elias beat Baron Corbin tonight. AJ, more than likely, is going to go on to beat Shinsuke Nakamura. What has Shinsuke Nakamura done with WWE that they would give him a victory? And why would they bring AJ Styles over from Raw for that star power that they so desperately need on this show? Why would they bring him over from Raw to have him lose in his first match in this tournament? He's lost everything else. He's eventually going to need some wins under his belt. He's not that bulletproof. So he's going to have to eventually get this win over Nakamura. And do you think he's going to lose to Elias? AJ will be in the finals of this tournament. We may be looking at Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship. That's what I see. Now, we'll talk about that as the weeks go on, or I'll talk about that maybe when we talk about it on Off the Script. But from what I could see, this is my early prediction. Just based off what Elias did to Corbin. He beat Corbin. I expect AJ to beat Nakamura. Then I expect AJ to beat Elias. There's no way that Elias is getting a victory over AJ Styles. AJ Styles will be in the finals. Bryan is already in the finals. He qualified by beating Drew Gulak tonight. Then we got Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. How stupid is WWE to have this build and build and build over a string of weeks only to have their first match in the fucking tournament in the first round. How did it come about? Why is it there? Instead of actually having them on both sides of the tournament brackets and then having them meet in the finals. That is a match that you build an entire tournament around for the championship. And WWE has failed to do that. Or if Daniel Bryan wins the title, which I'll talk about in a second, if Daniel Bryan wins the title against AJ, that's a big match. That's a brand versus brand match for the Intercontinental Championship. What happens then? If that's my prediction, which it is, what happens then? Is AJ going to win and take the title back to Monday Night Raw when they already have a mid-card championship? Or is it going to be Daniel Bryan winning the Intercontinental Championship and they're going to continue the feud with Bryan and Sami Zayn, like I mentioned on the podcast earlier today? Which makes me, another point I want to make, which makes me think possibly that WWE is using this Sami Zayn not being able to show up to work deal. It might end up being a legit work. Now, I don't know for sure. I've heard and read a lot of rumors about Sami Zayn being in deep shit. I would not put it past WWE to fuck him over legitimately. He might have some heat. WWE has gone and done that before in the past with other people. But the fact that Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles could be looked at as a final for this tournament, with Bryan winning the Intercontinental Championship, kind of makes me think that they are working towards Bryan getting the championship and then Sami Zayn coming back and being the heel, saying that he never lost the championship, which might lend everybody to think that is a work. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. This is a very lazy tournament. This is a very unexciting tournament. And whoever made up these brackets, man, you got to do a better job than that. You really got to do a better job than that. AJ versus Nakamura in the first round. Corbin versus Elias. You took all past former feuds and put them in a first-round match for this tournament. Instead of building something intriguing. Instead of building something, surprising. I don't really understand how anybody could look at this and not question WWE's logic or motives here. It sucks. It sucks. And I'm not excited about anything coming out of this tournament. And more than likely, like I said, the reason why AJ is there is because they're going to build the entire tournament around him to inevitably give the win and the title to a SmackDown guy. AJ's a heel. It's either going to be Jeff Hardy or Daniel Bryan. And I don't see Daniel Bryan going up against Jeff Hardy in the semifinals. I don't. And then Jeff Hardy going on to win the Intercontinental Championship. I don't see Jeff Hardy in a SmackDown role with the way they built him up, going after the Intercontinental Championship. They built him up bigger than that. They built him up as a bigger comeback story than that. And Bray Wyatt, after he gets done with Braun Strowman, who does Bray Wyatt have as a babyface on SmackDown that he has not wrestled yet? Jeff Hardy. That's my SummerSlam prediction. Jeff Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. So why would Jeff Hardy be the Intercontinental Champion? Jeff Hardy already got one over on Sheamus. Sheamus is going to go into this thing and get his revenge on Jeff Hardy in that match. I think Sheamus beats Jeff Hardy. And then we get a rematch of Daniel Bryan and Sheamus. Daniel Bryan goes on to win, because fuck Sheamus. And we get Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles in a match of two of the very best in this world. And then Daniel Bryan wins, and then we build the Sami Zayn storyline, like I said, like I mentioned on the podcast earlier today. That is my prediction with this tournament. But man, oh man, for everybody that's crying about JD's opinion on the wild card rule, why can't he enjoy anything? Why don't you just look at AJ being there as it being a way to build prestige for the Intercontinental Championship? Because I can't find any reason to think that AJ is there. Besides everything that everybody's been telling me, AJ is there for ratings. AJ is there because they need star power on this show. With every major name you bring over from Monday Night Raw, you're effectively taking another spot away from everybody else on that show. I can't get behind that. That's the very thing that killed the wild card rule in the first place back in 2019. This tournament is very lazy, and AJ being there means nothing to me. And I just love how WWE went out there and they shilled. They legitimately had Michael Cole and Corey Graves shill the Intercontinental Championship. Oh, this is a career-making moment. All of the greats had the Intercontinental Championship, going over all the names that held the Intercontinental Championship and how a career difference it made to win that championship, what it signifies, how prestigious it is, how great of an honor it is after everybody in the past held the championship. Are you serious? Now, I would actually believe them when they speak highly about the Intercontinental Championship, but I can't unsee all of the bullshit and how they treated the Intercontinental Championship all these years. All these years. You know, Rollins was once an Intercontinental Champion. He was actually a great Intercontinental Champion. He brought prestige to the Intercontinental Championship. He really did. And then they killed him. He got over organically, and then they fucking killed him. That's when Rollins was at the top of his game. White hot. White hot back in 2018. You guys remember. That was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Miz and Dolph Ziggler back in 2016. You don't think I forgot about that now, did you? Remember that? When Dolph Ziggler legitimately put his career on the line to win the Intercontinental Championship in a great feud with The Miz. That's when The Miz was on his top, or the top of his game. I loved everything those two did for the Intercontinental Championship. Outside of those two instances, I cannot, for the life of me, remember another time where the Intercontinental Championship meant anything. For the entire decade, for the last 10 years, this title has been absolutely worthless on WWE television. Now I got to hear these guys shill the Intercontinental Championship about how prestigious it is when I know it's not. And AJ being there doesn't add to the title being prestigious. Give me a fucking break. It doesn't. Okay? I don't want to hear about how that's the one title that's eluded him. He's not there for that. He's not there for that. Otherwise, he would have made a big deal about it. Otherwise, he would have been on SmackDown, and WWE would have had plans for that. But we all know why they're doing this wild card rule, and that's the only reason why AJ Styles is there. I can't for the life of me think of any other reason for the Intercontinental Championship to be important. They've literally taken the title, put it on somebody, and used it as a prop. I mean, Finn Balor had the title, I believe. Bobby Lashley had the title. How did that do anything to enhance the Intercontinental Championship? Outside of those two things that I mentioned with Rollins and Ziggler and The Miz, his title's been absolutely worthless. Nakamura did what with it? What did Nakamura do with the championship? Name me one thing that Nakamura did with the championship. Nothing. Did he take it into the fucking ocean with him and attach it to his surfboard? That's the extent of his IC title run. Give me a break. Sami Zayn did nothing with it. They gave Sami Zayn the championship out of sheer pity. I don't know why they gave Sami Zayn the championship. Braun Strowman was the Intercontinental Championship. You can't get any lower than Braun Strowman. The fuck did he do with the championship? They gave it to Strowman because they wanted it off of Nakamura because Nakamura wasn't doing anything with it. The IC title is absolutely meaningless to the WWE, and I got to listen to these guys shill me, sell me on something that I know is completely fabricated bullshit. I'm sitting here laughing listening at these guys. It's ridiculous. It would mean more. Your words would hold value if the entire decade has been wasted. The Intercontinental Championship has been wasted. So please don't shill me how important the title is when you, yourselves, don't even deem the title important. That is the main thing I hated about this show. Everything I just talked about. I find nothing of value here. The show actually opened, because I missed all of this, with Miz TV. Miz and John Morrison. Some of this was actually entertaining. I loved John Morrison's one-liners to Otis. Otis came out with his Money in the Bank briefcase. Cole said it must be the most surprising Money in the Bank win he's ever seen. Graves says that is probably the case. That is probably the case. There is no perhaps about it, he said. Otis made a very enthusiastic showing of his briefcase. He started humping the briefcase, or humping in the air with the briefcase. And he was yelling at the announcers, leaning over the table, yelling at them. Otis asked where he should sit when he got in the ring. So he sat down, and obviously the chair broke on Miz TV. Otis sat, it broke, he kicked it over. He said, "Don't worry, I'll stand." Miz, obviously looking at this guy like he's a weirdo, said Otis should be proud since he's the greatest, or since this is his greatest achievement ever. Otis said his proudest achievement is winning the heart of his beautiful peach, Mandy Rose. John Morrison asked if she felt bad for him. He said he must be packing some serious beef and must be good in the sack. Morrison asked what he had in the briefcase. Otis yelled, "I've got contracts, and I got some Rolaids and some Gas X and a bratwurst just in case he gets hungry later." Miz says he still can't wrap his head around winning since last week. He couldn't even climb the ladder. He yelled into the microphone, and he sounded like he was gargling or fucking doing his inaudible words with Otis. Morrison and Miz showed a picture of Otis as a baby. Otis says he was the biggest baby to ever come out of his mother at over 12 pounds. Morrison asked if Otis is pregnant. Miz says he's a man. Morrison said it's 2020, anything is possible. Miz then showed a photo of young Otis and his mom. Otis says he grew up with a learning disability, so school didn't make sense to him, but his mom helped him with his grades so he could play sports, including wrestling, because that made sense to me. They showed him posing in white underwear as a small child. I wanted to enjoy this. For the most part, I enjoyed the genuine moments with Otis. I enjoyed John Morrison's quick one-liners about, him being a man and, him packing some meat and him being good in the sack. And then Otis saying that he's got Rolaids and Gas X and a bratwurst in his briefcase. So obviously WWE is playing up the fact that he is a bumbling fool and he's quite large, he's fat, and he's got Mandy. How that's possible, nobody knows. It's an unsolved mystery. But I also like the fact that Otis came off very genuine and very real in the moments where they did show pictures of his mother and him as a young child, and them going over that he was homeschooled and nothing made sense to him. He had a learning disability, and all he wanted to do was play sports, and that included wrestling. And that's how we got into it. So that stuff I liked, because that is some stuff about Otis that we didn't know of before. And I think we need to know more of Otis if WWE is going to push him in this manner on SmackDown. So Miz yelled he can't believe Otis is Mr. Money in the Bank and got the girl too. Miz says he didn't climb the ladder, but rather it just fell into his hands. Miz says he is one step away from becoming Universal Champion. This is one step away from being the face of SmackDown, he said, pointing at Otis's face. Miz challenged Otis to a tag team match with Tucker, so he challenged Heavy Machinery. Otis said Tucker couldn't make it. For what reason, I don't know. Miz told Otis to tag with anyone else who could team with him. A worker entered the ring then, or a ring crew member entered the ring and then switched the unbroken chair with the broken chair. Or the unbroken chair, rather. He put in the ring to get the broken chair out of there. And Miz was yelling at him, "Now you come and fix or take away the broken chair and put a new one in? I could have used you 5 minutes ago." So, I like this to an extent. They obviously are going with Otis as Money in the Bank. Where Tucker is, I don't know. They made some bullshit excuse that he was home, ill. He fell ill playing Oregon Trail, I think is what Otis said. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on. But Tucker could have been a great addition to this. He could have been back on SmackDown, teaming with his buddy against Miz and Morrison, and things would have been all right. But Otis and Tucker are, for another week, not a tag team. Now, I don't know if all of this is going to lead to him failing a cash in and then going back to Tucker, what they're doing with Tucker, if they're going to make Tucker into a singles guy. Maybe Tucker is the one who betrays him. I don't know. what they're doing here with any of this stuff. But all I know is that they are going and moving forward with Otis as Mr. Money in the Bank. I just can't envision Vince McMahon giving him the world championship. I just can't envision it. And I don't think he will ever be ready for that. He's got a very small ceiling. He's great, don't get me wrong. He's genuine, don't get me wrong. He's everything that we love about a pro wrestler because he is the opposite of what the machine is. Don't get me wrong. But some guys you could look at and say, you know what, there's a certain ceiling on this guy. I don't look at him as be a world champion. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. You could just look at somebody, no matter how long they've been there, or look at a guy in general and say, I don't see a world champion in this guy. Or I don't see this guy as an IC champion. I don't see this guy as anything more than what he is. He's got a very small ceiling. Nobody's going out there and saying Marco Stunt is going to be a world champion. Seriously. Nobody out there is going to say Kip Sabian is a world champion caliber superstar and he's in the Double or Nothing Casino ladder match. Doesn't mean he's going to win because he's in there. I don't see those guys as a world champion. I don't see Colt Cabana in that match as a world champion. I don't see Orange Cassidy as a world champion. I do see Darby Allin winning that match, which we'll talk about later this weekend. Some guys you see as a world champion, some guys you don't. And it's nothing against them. I don't see a world champion in Otis. I did see potential tag team champions in Heavy Machinery, but clearly WWE is still with the mentality of let's break up a legit tag team because we see something in this guy and this guy means nothing. Meanwhile, nobody sees anything in Otis outside of what we've seen so far. And that does not include world champion. I don't know what WWE is thinking. I just think they go with the motion. And I think my opinion is the majority opinion. I don't think anybody listening to me thinks Otis is a world champion. Moving on here, man. We got Mandy Rose walking up to Otis, who was talking to himself. He was trying to find a tag team partner. Can't find anybody. Tucky is gone. It's not going good. And then she says, why don't you go and ask Braun Strowman to be your tag team partner? So then he's like, I knew you were brilliant. My little peach is brilliant. He gives Mandy Rose a kiss on the cheek, and that was it. Before that, I absolutely laughed because he asked Sheamus, and Sheamus just threw it back in his face and said no. So that was awesome. So Sheamus was asked about being Otis's tag team partner, and Sheamus left and said, not a chance, fella. Otis looked sad, and then Mandy obviously told him, go ex Braun. He might be the guy that you're looking for. We had the hacker show up again, and he was sitting in front of his control desk. It was the same promo that we seen on Money in the Bank. The truth will be revealed. Now, WrestleVotes, I'll talk about this even more on tomorrow's show. I mentioned on today's Off the Script podcast that WWE potentially had a big storyline planned for the spring and summer months on the level of a Nexus invasion or a Vince McMahon limo blowing up. And I said, I can't really see anybody on the current roster really fitting into that because there really isn't anybody interesting that could take me into the spring and summer months with a storyline and really keep me invested. But everybody was like, JD, it could be the hacker. Maybe they had something planned with the hacker and it was going to drag out all through the spring and summer. That could be a possibility. I don't know when WWE is going to reveal this guy. I don't know what they got planned for this guy. I don't even know who WWE has planned as the hacker. We have our assumptions and guesses. But I talk about the big storyline that WWE had planned and they canceled for now because there's no fans in attendance. And this storyline, this big storyline, needed fan interaction. I said on tomorrow's show, what if the Roman Reigns situation and them kind of canceling him out and trying to erase him from WWE memory? What if Roman Reigns is a part of the big storyline that they had planned? Not just the hacker, but Roman Reigns. You know? Because there's got to be a reason why they're not mentioning him on TV. He's the biggest face in the company. It's a good listen. Tomorrow's show is definitely a must listen. It's definitely there. So go and check that out when it's uploaded tomorrow at 5 p.m. But a lot of people were like, JD, you said the Undisputed Era could have been planned for this big storyline. And then people were like, JD, what if it was the hacker? Maybe it could have been the hacker storyline that WrestleVotes was talking about. I could see it. I could see it, but I don't think WWE knows where to go with this hacker storyline from here. It's always, it's pretty much the same thing that we've seen. And they've promised us that he knows something about a possible tag team on SmackDown, and nothing has really been brought to light. And I don't know when they're planning on doing that. Who they got planned for that, I don't know. So we'll see what happens. Naomi and Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke wins in 2 minutes. She got a shock victory. The best thing about this match was Naomi's entrance, of course. Dana Brooke wins in 2 minutes. I don't know what they're doing with Naomi. She lost here again, and she looked very distraught. Looks like they might be planning a storyline with Naomi where she just can't get the job done. I don't know. But Dana Brooke is getting some victories under her belt, and what does it mean? Absolutely nothing, because I don't care. I don't really give a shit. Charlotte Flair made her entrance. I really don't even know what to say, folks. I'm so joked out about Charlotte Flair, I don't know what to say. And I'm very tired. So I don't know if I want to make fun of Charlotte or not. I don't know. But she was there. The Queen Android was there. Graves shilling the brand-to-brand invitations, saying that it's great to see Charlotte on SmackDown. I think he's the only one. So she's in the ring. So I'm here on Friday Night SmackDown. She said she's the hardest working woman in the industry. The numbers were crunched. The conclusion was clear. People want more Charlotte Flair, is what she said. I would assume that the reason why she said that is because the new firmware update came with a huge virus bug. And it was something that Charlotte didn't clear out of her system yet, so that's why she went out there and spewed bullshit like this to us on Friday night. That's the only thing I could possibly come up with here. Otherwise, I'd love to see these numbers that were crunched. The only numbers that are being crunched are the SmackDown ratings, and they're dipping below a 2.0. So if the failing ratings are the numbers that are being crunched, by all means, continue putting Charlotte Flair on television. She's not a draw, folks. Charlotte Flair is not a draw. Charlotte Flair is not a draw. Not a draw. I'm sorry. She's not a draw in any which way. She's not a draw on Raw. She's not a draw on NXT. She's not a draw on SmackDown. Here we are. The NXT champion, who's a Raw superstar, appearing on SmackDown. Who asks for more Charlotte Flair? Somebody in WWE has an infatuation with Charlotte Flair. So, she said she's Ric Flair's daughter. She's Ric Flair's daughter. And she said she's actually surprised there's not a giant picture of her inside the Performance Center to inspire everybody. Bayley and Sasha Banks walk out. Cole noted that Bayley is the longest reigning women's champion in WWE currently. Bayley said Fox executives have a thing for blondes, and the rest of the sheep out there go crazy because she's Ric Flair's daughter. Sasha and Bayley then wooed Charlotte Flair. Charlotte asked if they were done. Bayley said not yet because she listened to her blab and blab about her resume. Bayley asked Sasha if she remembers the last time she saw Charlotte. Sasha said the last time Bayley saw her, she beat her for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I got to say this about Bayley. I was not a big fan of Bayley and her promo work. I was not even a big fan of Bayley, period. I was a fan of Bayley because I was a fan of Sasha. More of a fan of Sasha Banks than I was Bayley, always. But I got to give Bayley some credit. She's coming into her own as this heel, with this heel gimmick. The haircut doesn't bother me as much anymore. I got used to it. And I got to admit, man, Bayley's promo work has gotten just a little bit better. You see that she's owning the gimmick now. You see that she's having fun a little bit. There's some cringe moments here and there. And I want to say that I do see her getting better. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but she's not as bad as she used to be. So Charlotte made fun of Bayley's new haircut. I wish Bayley would have made fun of Charlotte's fucking shorts that she had on tonight. My God, did they look terrible. She fits them out in absolutely no way, shape, or form whatsoever. She said Charlotte can go back to Raw and beat Liv Morgan over and over again because this is their show now. She said she's the most dominant champion in SmackDown history because she's beaten everyone. And that includes you. Bayley said she'll tell Fox, she'll tell Fox this was a great time, but Charlotte should get out of their ring right now. Charlotte said that Sasha made Bayley relevant when she became the NXT champion, and now she's the only reason she is the SmackDown Women's Champion. Charlotte said to Sasha, "My oh my, we main evented the first Raw together." Really? Would you like to elaborate on that, Miss Flair? The first Raw? Back in 1993, I'm assuming. I really wish she would have elaborated. The first Raw what? The first Raw, you main evented the first Raw? Then she says this one, folks. Listen to this. She goes on to say they main evented the first Raw. She asked Sasha if she is content standing in Bayley's corner. Bayley said an egomaniac would never understand a friendship like theirs. Charlotte asked someone in the truck to cut Bayley's mic off. She asked Kevin Dunn to cut Bayley's mic off so she could talk to Sasha. Bayley challenged Charlotte to a champion versus champion match. Charlotte said SmackDown would love to have her on the show again. Again, I would love to see these people in the flesh, and I would love to see what these people look like. Bayley said she's taken up too much time already. Charlotte said the question isn't for her, so move out of my way. Charlotte then asked Sasha to think long and hard about whether she's her own woman or is she just going to be Bayley's lackey and be happy being an afterthought. You're a 6-time women's champion. Are you going to be your own woman or are you going to be Bayley's lackey? Bayley tried to assure Sasha that they were good as a team away from the microphone when Charlotte's music ended up playing after this segment. Now, a couple of things here. Why did we need Charlotte to get this across? This couldn't happen on its own. This couldn't materialize on its own between Bayley and Sasha Banks. We needed Charlotte to be the one to light the match on what was already lit. I don't get it. Charlotte has no business in this between Sasha and Bayley. She has no business being on SmackDown. She has no business being on Raw. Keep her on NXT. She's the NXT Women's Champion. She's not the Raw Women's Champion. She's not the SmackDown Women's Champion. She's the NXT Women's Champion. Keep her down there on her brand. She's not enhancing any ratings. In fact, she's actually harming the ratings the more you put her on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT 3 times a week. We went from 1 day a week to 3 days a week with Charlotte Flair. When did WWE start adding NXT championships to the overall reign of somebody on the main roster? I actually had to go and look up if I was losing my fucking mind. Did Sasha Banks win 2 additional championships that I never seen on her resume? So clearly they added the 4 that she had on Raw, and then they added 2 that she had in NXT, making it 6. Now, I'm all for padding Sasha Banks and making her sound a little bit better, but now, all of a sudden, you want to add 2 more title reigns to Sasha Banks' 4 others. When did they ever do that with NXT beforehand? So I guess Kevin Owens could add an NXT championship to his overall stats. I guess anybody else could do the same thing. I guess the War Raiders, or the Viking Raiders, the Viking Globetrotters, whatever the fuck you want to call them, can add the NXT Tag Team titles to their main roster resume. I guess Ricochet could add U.S. Champion and the NXT North American Championship to his main roster resume. He's a 2-time WWE Champion, right? When was this a thing? I legitimately had to go and look it up because I didn't know what she was talking about. If WWE wants to consider NXT, the third brand, the legit third brand, now that they're on the USA Network, that's great. But why are you adding 2 more title reigns to Sasha's 4 when before NXT didn't matter to anybody on the main roster? Why are they doing it, folks? Because Charlotte is the NXT Women's Champion and they never brought awareness to anyone else being the NXT Tag Team Champions. The Viking Raiders were the NXT Tag Team Champions when they made their main roster debut. Did they show up with the NXT Tag Team Championships on Raw last year? The answer is no. So why is now the time to add 2 more title reigns to Sasha Banks? Because Charlotte Flair is the NXT Women's Champion, and she now, according to WWE, is the only one that could bring prestige to any of the titles down there in NXT. Ricochet couldn't do it. The War Raiders couldn't do it. Kevin Owens couldn't do it. This guy, that guy, this guy couldn't do it. Adam Cole couldn't do it. But now we're looking at 6-time champion Sasha Banks, when before, nobody wanted to mention anything about what they did previously in NXT. NXT was always the wicked stepchild to WWE. But now that Charlotte Flair is the NXT Women's Champion, now we're considering NXT championships a little bit more prestigious. Ridiculous. You didn't think I picked up on that one, huh? I see you, WWE. Clearly, this is, again, facilitating Sasha and Bayley and the deterioration of their relationship. Bayley didn't really get anywhere with this. She didn't let Sasha Banks speak for her own. So Bayley and her actions to Sasha, making Sasha just stand there and kind of cutting her off and not letting her speak for herself and be her own woman, she's proving that Charlotte Flair was right, and Sasha seen this. And it's going to lead to further deterioration for both of them. And what do you think they did, folks? They did Charlotte versus Bayley, signed for next week, champion versus champion on SmackDown. So whatever happens this year at the Survivor Series or whatever happens later on in the future, when these two inevitably meet again, it's not going to mean a goddamn thing because they're doing it for a cheap rating spot. And who is going to go out of their way to watch a Sasha or Bayley rather versus Charlotte match, champion versus champion on SmackDown? It means nothing. It means nothing. Bayley can't afford a loss. Charlotte is certainly not going to lose. So you're either booking yourself into a corner or you're going to make Bayley lose this match and have that next week, again, aid in pushing along the Sasha and Bayley storyline. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It's unnecessary. The wildcard rule sucks. And WWE is just, they're all over the place, man. Nothing legitimately makes sense. There's not one thing on this show that you can't complain about. I didn't like this at all. And it's too much Charlotte. You got to get rid of her. You really got to get rid of her. Put her back on NXT and get her on her own dedicated brand. Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. This went 13 minutes. Daniel Bryan wins to advance in the IC title tournament. It was a very good match. Drew Gulak was in control, mostly scoring a near fall towards the end. Bryan came back with a dragon screw ankle whip, followed by a heel hook in the middle of the ring, and Drew tapped out. So that was that. Drew Gulak taps out. Daniel Bryan advances. He faces the winner of Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy next week on SmackDown. Renee interviewed Bryan, Renee Young, goons, interviewed Bryan, who said he was forced to retire nearly 5 years ago to the day he had to relinquish the IC title. He said he wants to win it and make the IC title the premier title on SmackDown and defend it every week. I wanted to represent the absolute greatest wrestler in WWE, and I think that is me. Wow, look at that. A babyface promo that put over the Intercontinental Championship and him wanting and why he wants the Intercontinental Championship. Wow, WWE. What a novel fucking concept. Daniel Bryan is my pick to win this overall tournament. Him and AJ are going to have a great match, and I think Daniel Bryan's going to win the title and continue his feud with Sami Zayn. That's my prediction. Sonya and Dolph, they had a great promo. Well, Sonya did. Dolph just stood there. Sonya said everything she said she would do, she has done to Mandy Rose. She said she and Dolph will humiliate her, just like Bruce humiliates himself by writing this fucking show every week. Now we know where he writes the show, being that we've seen him on Money in the Bank Sunday coming out of the fucking stall. He looks down in the toilet, and there's SmackDown. There's the fucking script. She wondered what Mandy is good at, because it's not winning, it's not fighting, it's not being a good tag team partner, it's certainly not being a good friend. She said the only good thing that Mandy does is being blonde and pretty. And when that's all over, where does that leave her? She said it'll leave her barefoot and pregnant in some double-wide trailer with kids screaming, cooking up some high cholesterol meat on the grill as Otis screams, "Give me another beer." If that's the life you want to live, then by all means, go live that life. But you're never going to be a winner like me. You're never going to have the skill, talent, charisma, and mind that I have, said Sonya. She says she is just getting started, ruining her life. She told her to put on her big girl panties next week and show that she belongs in the same ring with her. Bitch. And then she winked at the camera. There's that just bitch. Just thrown in there for no good reason. It's like WWE just does it now out of habit. You got to have one woman call another woman bitch just to sell the fact of the promo. The promo was great before she said the word bitch. Why was it necessary? That's neither here or there. So Ziggler was just staring at her, admiring her from behind. I don't blame him. But Ziggler and Sonya, I love how they look together. I think they look great together. This was a great promo by Sonya. She didn't mess up. She didn't stutter. She was very direct. She knew what she wanted to say. She knew how to say it. She came off very well. Sonya is becoming one of my, I would say in the women's division, quickly becoming one of my favorite acts in the women's division. I love what they're doing with her. I really do. This is one of the best things on SmackDown so far from a women's division perspective. Hopefully they continue giving her momentum and they don't stall that in any way whatsoever. Because she deserves it. And she's doing a very good job. And hopefully they pick up on that. And I'm loving the way these two are looking together. And who knows what happens, man. They got the mixed tag team match signed next week. We're going to get Dolph and Sonya against Mandy and Otis on SmackDown. So that'll be the next chapter in this feud. Could be the end of it. We'll see what happens. Miz and Morrison versus Braun Strowman and Otis. Braun Strowman ended up being Otis' tag team partner. This went 10 minutes. We had Braun do the caterpillar here. He did it better than I could, but Jesus Christ, man. If Braun is not able to do the caterpillar, then why is he even attempting to do the caterpillar? Otis did it. Braun tried, and he failed at it. So, clearly, this is a tag team duo with nothing more than the tease being sold here. The aspect of the tease, the cash-in on Braun Strowman by Otis is what they are trying to build, the dynamic they're trying to build. So we did the double caterpillar. They went to commercial break. Miz and Morrison were in control. Braun hot-tagged, rammed into Morrison at ringside, then went after the Miz in the ring. Morrison blind tagged in, saved Miz from a corner splash. Then he went on to attack and use a barrage of kicks. Braun surprised Morrison with a tilt-a-whirl into a power slam for the win. And that was it. Braun and Otis win in 10 minutes. After the match, Otis held up his briefcase. Braun held up his Universal title. Mandy's music played. She came out smiling and applauding Otis from the stage. Otis then set the briefcase down and wanted to strike from behind on Braun, who was distracted by Mandy. You can't blame him. Braun turned around. He didn't look happy. Otis then said, "I was just kidding. I was just doing it for a laugh." Braun fist bumped Otis because you can't shake hands. Mandy entered the ring. Otis hugged her. And Braun and Otis, with Mandy, stood tall in the ring. And all I got from this was Otis is going to try and use Mandy. He's going to try and use Mandy to distract, to get a cash-in on Braun Strowman. And when all is said and done, I just feel it, that Mandy's going to turn on Otis and he's going to lose the briefcase because of Mandy Rose. And Mandy is going to go back and join Dolph Ziggler and Sonya Deville. I hope to God not. I think it sounds terrible. It just feels terrible, you know. But listen, this is WWE. They want to take a feel-good moment that they gave Otis and they want to ruin it. And they want to castrate him after all this time. So I don't blame them for... I don't really see them going any other way but that. I don't blame them because that's typical WWE. You know, that's what they are known to be doing. Well, that's what they usually do. So I'm not going to sit here and complain about it when I know them better than they know themselves. We've seen it happen over and over and over again through history. They usually take a feel-good moment and fucking bury it. They fucking shit all over it. And Otis, again, I can't see him being Money in the Bank. I don't see him being a Universal Champion. I don't see him being cashed in, or I don't see him cashing in the briefcase. I see him failing, and someone's going to fuck him over. Someone's going to fuck him over. We'll see what happens, but, man, this was a very uneventful SmackDown. Nothing on this show resonates with me whatsoever. I feel like this is just old negativity on Friday night. I want that to change really, really bad. I think the last SmackDown that I actually enjoyed was the NXT emergency episode of SmackDown, and man, that feels forever ago. But man, this show is not doing anything. I mean, you can't start a show off with Otis and then go into a 20-minute match with Baron Corbin and Elias, and then Dana Brooke versus Naomi, and expect people to still care and still be there by the time you run through the rest of the show. And then they wonder. Then WWE wonders, Fox wonders why the ratings were so low. Where are the ratings? What are you guys doing? You have TV time. You're not using it and utilizing it to the best of your ability. This is what you're delivering to us? It's just garbage. There's nothing exciting about it. And that was SmackDown, guys. Again, another worthless episode. And next week is more of the same. Seriously. We got the IC title tournament. WWE is not making good with that already. We got Mandy and Otis teaming up against Dolph and Sonya. I'll be interested in that. But that's about it. That's about it. And who is Braun? When is Bray Wyatt going to come out and challenge Braun Strowman as the Fiend for the WWE Universal title going into Backlash? Because as of right now, Braun has no opponent. It's not going to be Otis. So Braun's going to need a big build going into Backlash. When is WWE going to start that? And how is that going to factor into what's going on with the Universal Championship? We don't know. We don't know. But guys, I'm getting out of here. If you missed Off the Script earlier today, please go and check it out. Link is down below in the description. Really, really great listen. Talk about Asuka, talk about Becky Lynch, talk about Sami Zayn. Some really direct and informative stuff there. So go and check it out. Link is in the description down below, along with Monday Night Raw, AEW, NXT, and I'll see you guys, obviously, with part 2 of Off the Script tomorrow for episode 326. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. And Harry's, as always, good friend to the show, harrys.com/script. Get yourself a value trial set today using our unique link, harrys.com/script. You will not regret it. Believe me. Guys, I'll see you on OTS tomorrow. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will see you right back here on Monday with a brand new week of WWE content. And look forward to that Off the Script tomorrow, man. Legendary rant on the Wild Card Rule or the Brand to Brand Invitational on WWE television. Look forward to it. See you guys later.